That's an interesting point. Whether the Bihar elections will be localized or whether they will once again be fought on brand Modi, as the BJP likes to call it. Our election tracker done by C Voter also looks at that. The performance of Prime Minister Modi, percentage of people very much satisfied has increased from 44.5% in February to 50.6% in June. So the Prime Minister's popularity is high. Remember, this is post-Operation Sindoor. Those satisfied to some extent saw a slight decline, coming down to 22.1% in June. Not at all satisfied, fairly stable, around 26 to 29%. Those who said they had no opinion was just 0.3. Now, contrast that on the other side with Rahul Gandhi. Where does Rahul Gandhi stand in these popularity stakes? February, 34.4% said they were very much satisfied, but that figure dipped to about 30.9%, which is roughly the vote of the Mahagathbandhan. Satisfied to some extent, saw a rise in April and May, but settled at 19.8%. People not at all satisfied increased to 37.2%. Those who couldn't say is 12%. Yashwant Deshmukh, in a state poll, will these national leaders and their popularity make a difference, or is this, as is being suggested by some of the guests, going to be a highly localized election fought on local caste combinations in particular?
It will be a localized election. Let's not make any mistake about it. But as we say that it's a cumulative decision always, Rajdeep. I mean, things add up in the decision making process of the people. And BJP, by and large, has got benefited a lot by the goodwill which the Prime Minister enjoys among not just Bihar, but in many states we know. But at the end of the day, we also know that as and where it is required, BJP has made the equation localized, keeping the Prime Minister's campaign and popularity, as we have seen in Haryana or Maharashtra or even in Jammu region, on the back end, actually. For that matter, even in Delhi, if we have seen that. So this localization is a two-way process. It's a dual-edged sword, I would say, and everybody has to deal with that. But these numbers do matter, keeping in mind that Prime Minister still remains popular and he does influence at least his part of the weight to put behind the NDA numbers.
This question, Anshuman Tiwari, comes in every election. Whether these elections, the more localized they get, the better the chances, it seems, of the opposition. Although Maharashtra and Haryana were a major setback. The moment it becomes, the BJP makes it more a referendum on Prime Minister Modi, that much easier for the BJP to win as per past elections. Do you believe Bihar is unique in that sense because of the complexity of caste equation? Muslims plus Yadavs give the Mahagathbandhan about a 30% vote. But beyond that, they have a struggle to build new caste communities, new caste equations, and therefore that will matter much more than how much popular Mr. Modi or Rahul Gandhi are.
See, it's going to be a localized election for sure, and it's going to be very close, because if you compare just the satisfaction rating of Prime Minister Modi versus Nitish Kumar, now you see a huge difference, because the number of satisfied and the number of dissatisfied with Nitish Kumar's performance is almost equal, or it's negative to that extent, because this somewhat satisfied to some extent is rather a floating voter. It is the kingmaker sort of a voter, because both these alliances have pocket votes of around 35% each, as per the survey also. But in a very close election, Prime Minister Modi can become the differentiating factor. Even if 4-5% of the people are going to vote on the prime ministerial face in a very close election, he can become the differentiating factor. See, the RJD or the Mahagathbandhan, as you mentioned, is largely facing three structural challenges. One is its inability to garner votes outside of the MY vote block. It needs to add either EBC and or Dalits to its vote block to cross that 40-45% threshold, which Yashwantji was telling about. Somehow the stigma of Jungle Raj, the RJD has not been able to shrug off or neutralize. जिसको कहते हैं हिंदी में चिपका हुआ है वो उनके साथ. And the third factor is that the symbol of RJD, which is a lantern today, lacks modernity somehow. Correct. So it's not able to solve its structural challenges unless it is able to do that. And Tejasvi is making a lot of efforts in that area. He's
Right.
holding a lot of subcaste sammelans. So they need to add the EBC and or Dalit vote block to win this election.
That won't be easy, of course, given that Nitish Kumar has usually held on to a large section of the EBC vote, that the Dalit vote, the Chirag factor comes in. Syed Zafar Islam, we saw in 2020, RJD emerged as party number one. They were very close to winning. Would you therefore concede, while you're claiming you're going to break all records, if 2020 is any barometer, Bihar is a lot tougher than maybe many other North Indian states are for you. It's a state where in the past also, we've seen caste combinations and local factors make elections far tougher than in other parts.
Well, if you do a back testing of all the results since 2005, Rajdeep, then you will realize that it was aberration in 2020 because RJD has never been able to get cross beyond 50 and 55 seats. Having said that, as Amitabh Tiwari ji was rightly saying that it's a modern age and the people are these days not talking about the caste, but they are talking about the development. And Lalton,
they're talking about jobs. They're talking about jobs. One of the prime factors that that Tejasvi is pushing is jobs, Naukri.
No. So I'm just coming to that. So people are fed up with lantern, and then now the era is of LED. So they all understand that which party is thinking on those lines to provide more jobs and opportunities to youth, and that is something which which we have been able to deliver in last several years. Tejasvi Yadav, whenever they have the opportunity, they only think of their family members. Like for instance, they had the opportunity to get to have two deputy chief ministers. They chose both the brothers instead of any other from the party. That suggests that their only focus for the family, rest of the people or the state is not relevant for them. They work on some combination MY, but this time even that will not work because even the recent bipolar election suggests that whatever may be there, even seats we have not won ever in the past we have been able to win those seats as well. That only suggests that we have a very cohesive, very strong units. Everyone is contributing. Be it the chief minister or the deputy chief minister, and of course, the honorable prime minister continues to be a very popular leader, and he makes a lot of difference when he enters into polling during the campaign period.
You know, Anshul Abhijit, there is this feeling that there is no incremental voter. There is no new voter who's coming to your alliance. Your alliance is still stuck in that sense in the traditional MY combination. And the Congress in particular is unable to bring new voters. Your upper caste vote deserted you over the years, and you've not got a single caste grouping that can identify with the Congress in a very caste-conscious state. How do you then break out of the trap? How does the Congress and the Mahagathbandhan break out of this MY trap? Without breaking out of that, you can't win this election.
No, that's the problem, Rajdeep. You're making the election very, very reductive in terms of caste. As it showed last time in 2020, and you've mentioned that, the challenge in parties in Bihar, and of course, Bihar is notoriously caste-ridden. I've seen that firsthand. I've seen it over the years. Everybody else has. But the biggest challenge is how to make issues like jobs, employment, education, health, where Bihar is reeling. It comes the worst in all social sector indicators. It's absolutely the worst. How to make that relevant, or how to make that a linear relationship between electoral outcomes and health and economic suffering. How does that happen? It happened last time.
30 seconds. How are you doing it? How are you doing it? It didn't happen last time. You lost the Lok Sabha elections.
No, I'm telling you. So social justice, and let's not reduce it to caste and development, go hand in hand. That's one thing. And we're talking about jobs. We're talking about the degraded nature of the health services in Bihar. We're talking about employment over there. We're talking about the plight of farmers. We're talking about education, where 50% of primary school children have forgotten to read and write. And that is really the situation over there. These are the issues.
Interesting. These are also some of the issues that Prashant. These are interesting. These are also some of the issues Prashant. Now I'm giving you only 10 seconds. Only 10 seconds, Syed Zafar Islam. No more.
All I want to highlight here that maybe Anshul is speaking all these things, but does he know that the dynamics between them and the RJD, because RJD is clearly not going to give them the number of seats they require. They want, because the RJD
Okay, let's-
feels that
Zafar, what about the
they-
dynamics between the
No, no,
JDU?
let's not even go down that route. We've
No,
heard
I'm
both
saying
sides.
that
We've heard now. I
you-
want to
you
leave
will
it
be
there. There'll be
deserted
many
by-
more
by-
opportunities. I have only given the numbers and what the numbers show. The numbers show at the moment, yes, there is anti-incumbency. Yes, Nitish's numbers are low. But purely as a combination, the NDA at the moment seems to have the arithmetic with them. We'll wait and see how and if those numbers change. Remember, elections in Bihar expected in November this year. So that's a tracker that we brought you.